So I
Yeah.
don't exactly know what the story is there. I'm kind of confused, but he ran for president, and before
Mhm.
that, he was doing a pharmaceutical thing in California, and then he was a part of Doge for like a couple weeks, and then had the whole H-1B thing on
Yeah.
Twitter, and then all of a sudden he's running for governor in Ohio, and it seems like the guys who were planning on running as Republicans, all of a sudden, kind of like the seas parted, Vivek
Yeah.
showed up, and all this money poured in. So, like, I don't feel like I have a good understanding of what's going on. I don't know if you have any more. If you can
Um,
illuminate that
a
for
little
me,
more, I'd
but
be happy to. And also, Scott, I hope you'll forgive me. I didn't actually have enough note. What are we doing today? What are you? Are we? I'm not really sure. Are you for a particular media or writing or
just an interview. I'm in
cool?
with the Galleon Charter. You know Galleon,
I
Ohio?
saw that. Yes, of course I do. I grew up in Tiffin, basically, so it's
Oh,
not
really?
that far away.
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
I played their high school in golf when I was,
Yeah, I was just interested in your campaign. I was going to cover it
cool.
as like a news story for the local media.
Awesome, man. That's fine. I couldn't remember because I had your name and I saw Galleon Charter, but I didn't specifically know. So I hope you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think it's fair to say if Vivek was not the nominee effectively, he's not the nominee. How should I say? If Vivek wasn't astroturfed into oblivion with the GOP as like our only pick being shoved down our throat, there's a good chance I wouldn't be here. I wanted to see Trump win. He did. There's things I don't like that are happening worldwide. That kind of got me up and bothered. But if we look at Vivek, you're right. This is a guy that came out of nowhere a couple years back to run for president. And we all just thought, okay, that's cool. A Republican that has Donald Trump's talking points that's not a white guy. Maybe the left will leave us alone. And that's about the extent of the thought there because he's not gonna win. He doesn't have the role, so to speak. So he punches out of the presidential race when he was polling no better than Chris Christie, which is nothing to write home about. And so he just backs out and then just uses that opportunity and spotlight to keep going, like on all the podcasts and news things, and just support Donald Trump, which is fine, whatever. Um, and then he gets appointed to do Doge with Elon, which arguably Doge is the most important thing we could possibly do in the government. I mean, think about what we at least could be doing. So everybody's cool with that. However, and they talk about it, but they're not doing anything until President can get in, Donald Trump can get in. So, he gets elected, and then the inauguration comes around, and Vivek is like nowhere to be found. I don't know if you noticed that, but like when I was watching stuff, I'm like, why aren't we seeing Vivek anywhere? You could see everybody, but not Vivek. And I actually asked some friends of mine, and he's like, "No, I thought I saw him, but it was a little weird." And then a short time after, you see he's going to run for governor of Ohio. Like, what? We're not your consolation prize. Like, you ran for president. If you wanted to run for Ohio and you cared about Ohio, you'd be running for Ohio. And then if you were going to get to do Doge, which is going to save more money for the United States than basically the entirety of Ohio's economy in 1 year. Like, why aren't you doing that? That's arguably a higher end job that is of greater national and humanitarian importance to our country. So I was like, this is wrong. And then the amount of endorsements that instantly came in, I'm like, this is also wrong. These are all, in my opinion, bought and paid for AstroTurf things. And honestly, I think that's when it first ticked me off a little on a personal level just because Vivek, and I don't really want to talk about Vivek the whole time, but this is a dude who he didn't go to college in Ohio. He went to Harvard and Yale and got a scholarship paid for by Soros family money, despite making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. He has no businesses in Ohio. And despite being allegedly worth about $2 billion right now, he's done zero philanthropy in Ohio. Like literally, and I'm just going to say it like this: Bro has done literally zero to show that he cares in any way, shape, and form about this state or is in any way, shape, or form connected to the community or people at all.
I didn't even
Nothing.
know he was from Ohio until he announced for governor.
Yeah, he was allegedly born in Cincinnati. Of course, his parents are both from India and weren't even citizens when he was born. So that's why technically, he's an anchor baby. Which, hey, he's an American, but um, he's insulting our values and our roots and everything going back, and then writing op-ed articles and saying that basically, if you don't like Vivek Ramaswamy, you're racist. And it's like, no, dude, we just don't like you because it's clear you don't care about anybody, have done nothing for anybody. And then, of course, there's issues. People are concerned about the nature and way he's made money, so to speak, with failed pharmaceutical drugs and getting the rights to them and turning them into a public company with his mother helping write papers and stuff relating to that in the medical industry. So, when a company goes public, it has a huge market cap, and then he cashes out with many millions of dollars, and then company fails. Everybody loses their investment. It's bankrupt. Vivek walks away a wealthy man. So you can read that how you want, but it doesn't look too good. And maybe this will be the last thing I say on Vivek, but he's Hindu. He was raised Hindu, and says he still is, despite going to private Catholic high school, which is weird. But I guess karma is a Hindu or Indian concept. So I'm curious how karma will end up treating him in the future.
All right. Pivot a little bit. I see the economy right now as something with a lot of question marks around it in ways
Mhm.
that people don't even realize with AI and everything, and just how much things are transforming. Um, Looking at like policies to try to grow the economy in Ohio, what does that look like for you? Like working around those question marks, how do you think that's going to go?
Well, there's twofold things here. If we address and look at the nature of AI and the changing of our lives and economy, as well as I'm going to say data centers being
Yeah,
kind of slipped in under the cover tonight, a few hundred of these. Let me hit on the data centers first.
sure.
They're a net loss to Ohio. The reason they've been coming in on NDA forms and kind of slipped in under the cover tonight clearly is because they're here because Ohio is the best place that's advantageous for the billionaire tech bros to take advantage of. We have good power generation at a reasonable cost. We have land. We're obviously close to lakes and rivers and aquifers that they need massive amounts of fresh water for cooling. So there's environmental issues. They're getting tax abatements at 10 to 15 years, which is probably more than the time that the data centers are actually useful for. They create a very small amount of maintenance jobs that barely creates any money coming back into a community. And then all the people end up basically having to subsidize the cost of the thing through skyrocketing electricity bills. They're just a net loss to the state completely, and shows a lack of foresight for high level leadership at the state level and federal level, because now we're in an international arms race with AI to the betterment of literally no one. No one. It doesn't make your life better. It doesn't make my life better. I don't need Grok or whatever to show me people in a bikini anymore. That doesn't make my life any better. So frankly, we just simply need leadership that look beyond their own term or terms down the road and do things that are in the best interest of the people and are net gain for the state. Those are not. And Vivek also was campaigning on thinking that Ohio, River Valley, could be the next Silicon Valley, which is BS political rhetoric for we're going to shove data centers up your tailpipe and make you pay for it, normies. And all my buddies who are billionaires are going to be the ones that come out well. With regard to AI, we're all watching ourselves be screwed. We just are. Uh, the fact of the matter is the absurdity of the power that AI has to steal your likeness, my likeness, our voice, make videos to confuse people about what anything is, glean all the information and intellectual property off the internet with no protection to the people whatsoever. It's just the most horrific leech thieving device that's ever existed in humanity to be able to program us. They don't have full control over it. And it's so darn powerful that how is the government going to even matter anymore? I really actually mean that. That's why I really went off when I saw that Donald Trump was putting unregulated AI in the big, beautiful bill, and then make an executive order and try to make it so states have no way to push back against that. That's just pushing the rock on top of the mountain over the edge of hypothetical totalitarian control. The other thing about AI that's obscene, you hear people like Sam Altman, which I'm not going to comment anymore on him, but that is a very worrisome fella. He um, he says that if the job didn't need to exist or goes away because of AI, was it a job that mattered anyway? And he's got a point. However, that's horrific. So let's just say with AI, let's say in the next 1 year, suddenly you lose 45% of all white collar jobs like that. You lose them all. They're just done. Um, how is that not going to instantaneously throw us into a depression? Like a serious one, like right now?
apparently we're going to get some kind of universal high income.
No, what that's code for is we have so much power and we're going to destroy the entirety of the economy and jobs and make you irrelevant that we don't need you anymore. And that we're going to be in the position of power with government to totally change the nature of society and economy. And you dumb normies are going to have to do what we think. And that's exactly what these people are shoving down our throat.
Yeah. You think that's just kind of been the plan with AI all
Yeah,
along?
they know what they can do. They absolutely know what they can do, and they're pushing toward it. And hardly ever do they even tell us something that good that can come about it. They're like, well, it can help us cure cancer. I'm like, excuse me, we're not dumb. Like, we already know pharmaceutical companies just want to treat symptoms and not cure anything. Like, oh, please. It's more of just spitting in our face and telling us it's terrain. It's, and think about it. Think of the big billionaires. Elon wants to go to Mars. Yippee. Think about all the other ones that are remotely involved with AI. Peter Thiel, Alex Karp, Sam Altman. Whatever in their lives or now are those people doing that's in the best interest of humanity or society in the future? I'm literally asking you that question. What?
I don't know. There seems to
I
be
haven't seen a
some
single thing.
suggestion always that it's coming. It's right around the corner, right?
No, no, they're people that I wouldn't want to be within 50 feet of my children unattended. Like they give me the creeps, dude. Like
Yeah.
I see them doing nothing for anybody. There's no leadership and there's no pushback. Um, so does AI have value for a lot of things from say like engineering to graphic design or compiling information for us to see? Absolutely. But it's a tool and it's a tool that needs to be used to augment the human experience, not to take away from it, not to make us dumber in school because we didn't learn, not to make it so that we don't no longer design things or do art. Um, and that's the worst thing about AI is it takes away from the human experience.
Yeah.
And maybe people don't think philosophically, but it comes down to this. And I think when you think about government just getting in the way and ruining things, ruining economy, ruining our ability to buy a home, ruining our ability to have a job, ruining interest, ruining everything. And it gets to the point where literally everybody just goes, can we just live? And the reason people say that is because it's like, can we just enjoy the human experience in life and have a family and a future and a community and our own culture? And truth of the matter is AI is here and just destroys all that or circumvents it. To whose gain?
Yeah.
It's not ours.
It seems like they've like kind of inverted it whereas you would think maybe we could use AI as a tool to serve us, the rhetoric seems to be pushing more and more that we become tools to serve AI, and like the entire economy now is slowly being geared towards AI completely.
Yeah, I'm speaking out of turn here politically, but it does appear to me that if I were to assess the chess pieces being moved, is that all the people that control AI, they care not who makes the nation's laws, so to speak, because they know the level of power they will have over everything and everybody in governments. Um, they never needed us. They don't care about us because they're clearly doing nothing with humanity in a positive way. And you start hearing them all talk about the population. Are there too many people? Things of this nature. And you can tell what they're thinking about. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So, with regard to Ohio, there needs to be protection from people for people from AI. Your likeness, your voice, your intellectual property, the ability to not be propagandized and programmed at all times. There just simply does.
Yeah.
And if any
Surveillance.
college, exactly, and surveillance, my God. It's just unfair. And the stupid argument of like, oh, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you won't have. Okay, great. Let's all go sit in our semi darkened basements and do nothing together and not talk to each other. Come on. So I just am not okay with AI and politicians and billionaires destroying the human experience um, for BS reasons and them not looking out for us. If any politician, in my opinion, makes it that AI should be unregulated in any way and is not even remotely thinking about the best interest of the protection of the people, they're either misinformed and or stupid and or lying to us for their own personal gain or a combination of all the above. There's nothing else to it than that.
Um, so we have a local issue here in Galleon that just in the last couple weeks, our school district announced that next week or next year, sorry, they're going from 5-day school weeks to 4-day weeks,
Mm-hmm.
which it seems like a lot of the ways that they're going to make up for the missing days to have kind of projects that students are working on outside of school and maybe self-directed learning. And I'm ambivalent on it, but one of the things that I like about it is that it does seem to, with those projects and that kind of self-directed learning, give students opportunity to bring education more back to the community.
Hmm, hmm.
And reading between the lines on why they decided to do the 5 day to 4 day thing, it seems to have a lot to do with like budget problems, and in particular with teachers, they're having a hard time keeping teachers, and the teachers are feeling overburdened. Some of them are just quitting teaching entirely and going on to different professions.
Yeah.
And it seems like a lot of this goes back to just the way that the school systems are run in Ohio, probably all over the country, honestly, but in Ohio with just standardized testing and the bureaucracy and the paperwork and the training, that they just feel like the teachers, it seems like they feel like all that stuff is in the way of them doing what they're good at and what they want to do.
It is.
And so, would you be open to looking at moving policies in that direction of like keeping the heavy hand of the state out of education a little bit and allowing the communities to get more involved with that?
Yeah, I'm already barking up that tree, so to speak.
Okay.
We one of the biggest things of education, K through 12, is the state requirements and such. The fact that we keep lowering and lowering and lowering the requirements, but then also putting more and more pressure on the teachers is insane. By virtue of putting all the pressure on the teachers, which are the most valuable resource, of course, what do you think's going to happen? The good ones are going to quit. It's the same thing that happened to police officers back in the like, around 2020, early Joe Biden years, with all the absurdities going on. Cops didn't think anybody were going to have their back, and they'd be made an example out of for some politician for some political gain. And in a way, I think the issue with teachers parallels that. So it just goes to show that bureaucracy and state is meddling in ways they shouldn't. They're ruining the opportunity to like try to make it seem like more kids are doing well in passing so they can pat themselves on the back. But all they're doing is destroying the ability to teach. You're destroying, the expectations of young people to actually learn and do something and be part of it, and giving teachers the breadth and wits to actually do their job. So that is at the heart of what I see with regard to K through 12. With regard to higher education, the biggest problem I have with it stems from this. You can have a 17-year-old kid go $100,000 in debt for a federal student loan that cannot be defaulted on. That scenario doesn't exist anywhere else in reality. And those people can then get a major that has no job. So all we're doing in a circumstances like that and many other similar ones is new universities and colleges are becoming a black hole for a nation's future wealth and destroying the future of the young people and their families before they even get a chance to do anything in the real world. And also, many of these colleges and universities have multi-billion-dollar endowments. So that needs to be assessed clearly, because if they have such massive wealth that, let's just say that it would be possible for them to realign and literally fund the full scholarships of many students, and they're not, then I would start questioning whether that's actually an educational institution that deserves having tax exempt status or not, rather than a black hole for a nation's wealth. So yeah, my policy is of mine is hugely related to: are we actually giving young people the opportunity to learn and grow? Are we actually empowering teachers to be able to do what they need to and getting off their backs so they can? And is government having realistic standards? But it's just gone way too far and just way too far away from anything with what young people actually need to grow. That's kind of the status quo of government. So I look forward to kick that in the behind really hard when I get there, because I spent the last 11 years doing Genius Garage, not getting paid, to great difficulty, because I care, and that was to pick up where the American educational system left off. Then it works. So in many ways, I've seen how the sausage is made with society and government, and yeah, I'm definitely not going to forget about it. I look forward to get in there and make things better quickly.
Okay. Um, I didn't have any more questions. I only had you for a few minutes, but
You're right. You're welcome to talk to me a little longer. I don't
okay.
think I'm getting blown up a little bit, but I can make some more time. Let me check my schedule. And I know we're super casual. I hope you'll forgive me. I
No, it's
I
fine.
could be all more gubernatorial like, but I kind of just rather be a real person with you.
Yeah,
Plus, you're
I
wearing
get that.
flannel, and I see your
Yeah.
Bluey curtain. I got Bluey stickers on the back
Oh,
of
you
my
can see the
laptop that
Bluey.
you're using. Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we're
Um,
being cool.
oh, I was just curious to get some of your background with the car stuff. I didn't look into that too hard, but seems like you were doing stuff like educational too. You mentioned the Genius Garage. What is all that?
Yeah, you should check that out. So Genius Garage is a 501(c)(3) public educational charity that my wife and I built back in 2013. Done it for 11 years. And it's simple. It's for collegiate level, so typically 18 through 25 years old. Generally speaking, mechanical engineering students and some technical. Problem with school is you don't really get to do anything in the real world. You don't have any projects to show for it, but that's literally the most important thing, which is another way that school is idiotic. Um, so I wanted to make the difference for them, and in the way that I didn't have when I was young, and how educational system made my life more difficult, and it worked. We build professional level racing cars and airplanes and mentor them automotive design. We will take the racing cars racing sometimes. Great field trips, incredible mentors, everything from CEOs to fighter pilots to connect with them directly, and just serious teamwork, in a real world environment. And that's what ends up putting a resume on the top of the pile. And they get hired from everywhere, from GM and Ford and Marathon and Tesla and Lockheed Martin and a whole host of awesome startup companies and small technical racing type things. So it really makes a massive difference in getting them jobs. And, part of the reason, frankly, I'm running for office is, I've done that for 11 years. It works, it matters, but there's zero support whatsoever. There's absolutely nowhere in society at all that you can break in to just make something be better. Meanwhile, educational systems just sit there with their hand out and just want more money and they fix nothing. That's one of the ways I've had enough. I've absolutely had enough of just trying to make the world better, and there's been nothing but roadblocks. And I did the same with the automotive, the Omega car. You may have seen me on Tucker Carlson early last year
A little
talking
bit.
about that car. Long story short, it was a recyclable manufacturing concept car, diesel. I tested it. It gets over 100 miles a gallon, just normally. Stop signs and turn, driving to countryside. 0 to 60, sub 5 seconds. Actually beats my Dodge Viper and exactly matched a Tesla Model 3 rear-wheel drive. And per mile, it's got a lower carbon footprint than an EV does when you consider all the details of generating electricity and such. It's something we have the infrastructure for, and it helps. Obviously that's a concept and a prototype, but it goes to show that we need to be thinking of manufacturing not in a foolish socio-political way, but in an objective, what do the people actually need? And I think they need an affordable car that is efficient and cool and is repairable, that has the least amount of damage to the environment for the sake of the people. That's what that is. That's what we don't have. That's what there's zero support for also. And even down here now, I'm sitting at my watchmaking desk, and for the last year and a half, I've been prototyping watches, and want to make a little company. And internationally, nationally, we have tariffs on goods, foreign goods. That includes Swiss watches, and that's supposed to make people want to manufacture in the states. So, one of the watches up there in the case, prototype watches, it meets the NASA requirements for the astronauts, so we can use that for the Artemis missions. Um, but there's no support for industry. Well, what exists out there remotely for any normal person with even a perfect idea or business to, you know, build something here? Like, why can't I build a watch company in Toledo, Ohio, and let that be a big deal? I'm already in my basement doing this. I'm already making that. We have tariffs, but there's no support. There's no help. So, as governor, one thing I want to do is simply innovation corridors and helping people be able to build business and innovate with some basic support structure. Obviously, assessing our state in terms of manufacturing ability and look at specifically, why don't companies come to Ohio? What's in the way of actually bringing genuine industry and jobs back here that tangibly make something in the real world? And then also with things like data center and AI, okay, that's cool because that's part of industry, but is it a net gain or a net loss for the state? And if it's a net loss, what are we going to do to make it a net gain? And if it's not, screw you, billionaire tech bros. We're not here for you to leech off of.
Yeah. It kind of seems like any kind of grassroots organization or project building or community building, it almost feels illegal nowadays with how everything is so segmented and all the bureaucracy and everything.
And the powers that be don't want any of us to be successful. I'm just going to be honest. They want us to sit down, shut up, and be their pawns. I'm sorry, but effectively, that's what it all comes down to. That's what I see, and I don't like that. because 44 years old, got a wife, nice little family, 3-year-old butt in the oven. And what future do we have with anything? Tell me, name me one thing in the last 5 years that's gotten better because of the government.
I'm not going to try.
What do they do? Write us all a check for a couple of
Oh
grand?
yeah, I heard we're going to get a
Whoopee.
couple. I haven't
That
gotten it
helped.
yet.
That helped nobody. Just get out of the way.
Yeah,
I mean, and honestly, they're helping nobody in any way, shape, and form. And I'm tired of it.
yeah,
So, everything I'm doing, all the policy directions from education to industry to looking at law and the court systems, et cetera, protecting our heritage sites from things like AI and such, and creating new ways to generate energy that'll be good for the state. Everything's just set up so that the people can have a more prosperous future and push back the tide of terror that comes our way from government and billionaires.
yeah. I agree. It feels like all the potential is there in terms of the people that we have here right now, and we just got to remember that we can do it.
Mhm.
So when is the election, the primary, and how can people get registered and everything? What's the deadline for
Yeah.
all that?
The Republican primary for me versus Vivek is May 5th.
Okay.
And it's actually open. So literally anybody can vote, whether you're,
Oh, okay.
Republican, of course, independent, or even Democrat. You just come in, request a Republican ballot, and vote for Casey. I actually care. And I'm
Yeah,
not going to take it anymore.
sounds good. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you talking to me and talking to the people at Galleon a little bit.
Of course. Thank you. And you can go to putsch4ohio.com. That is, of course, the website. You can volunteer through there. Of course, donate, because this is a movement of the people. We are literally doing this with all the support of the people, which is pretty amazing. It's pretty fun on X when Vivek says dumb things. I kind of enjoy ratioing
Yeah,
him,
he
so people
left
enjoy
though,
that
right?
too. Yeah, I guess we made his life too difficult on X. Yeah. No, it's really actually amazing what's happening. This is something of a perfect storm and a genuine movement from the people. So I'm looking forward.
Yeah,
It's an amazing journey.
yeah, me too. I'm glad to have you doing this.
Thanks for having me, man. I'll
Yeah,
catch you later.
yeah. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.